Seen a lot of tutorials out there recently that will do a great job of discussing the mechanics of software development. You know, how for each loops work, how does link work, entity framework, things like that. What I haven't seen are a lot of tutorials that will go through and coherently discuss how to build an application from start to finish. So that's what I'd like to focus on today in the Programmer's Workshop. Welcome. Today the topic is going to be how to build a video game application, a video game information application using the Internet Game Database, otherwise known as IGDB. Now, in this particular tutorial, things that you're going to learn are how to consume an IGDB API using REST to pull down video game information, ratings, images, game summaries, things of that nature. You're also going to learn how to install Visual Studio and then eventually how to navigate and make use of Visual Studio. We're going to be using Visual Studio to create a console application that will consume these APIs. Later on in another tutorial, I will take these same APIs and possibly build out either a desktop application or maybe even a website for us to do the same thing, to consume these APIs. But most importantly today, what you're going to learn is some information about coding and also how to organize and set up that code that you create so that it's maintainable, scalable, and extendable. Okay. So what will we need to get started? Things that you're going to need. First thing you're going to need is a developer's API account from IGDB. Don't worry, it's a free account, easy to set up. Other thing we're going to do is we need to have a IDE, an integrated development environment, to use for developing purposes. And for us, today we're going to use Visual Studio. Once again, we're going to use a community edition of Visual Studio, so it's going to be totally free for us. The other thing that you're going to need is a little knowledge of C#. You don't have to be an expert, because as we go along through this tutorial, I'm going to do my best to explain all of the things that I'm doing. So hopefully that will help increase your knowledge. But any knowledge that you can bring to the table will definitely be helpful. Okay, so what is IGDB? Okay, down here you'll see this is coming directly from their website. It just kind of explains who they are and what their mission is. But in a nutshell, IGDB is very similar to IMDb, which is the Internet Movie Database. Many people have gone to that site, millions in fact, and I use it personally as a way to view a movie before I'm going to watch it, to get a summary of that movie, and also to see how that movie was rated. If the movie has high ratings, I'll watch it, otherwise I pass on and move on to the next movie. We're going to do a very similar thing with IGDB. The difference is we're consuming their APIs, so we're going to be the ones building out the interface that someone else would use to do their research on a video game. Alright, so let's skip down to setting up a free developer account with IGDB. To set up the account, all you have to do is navigate to https api.igdb.com. Once you go to their site, you should be able to find a link for signing up, setting up an account. So you would set up that account, just follow the steps. Once you get that account set up, you're going to be sent back to the dashboard. Okay. On the dashboard, take note, on the right hand side you'll see a section entitled Credentials. In that section you'll see a request URL and a key. Those two pieces of information will be what we used to connect to the IGDB APIs to authenticate and eventually pull down the information that we need so that we can build our application with. The other thing to take note of is once you get to that dashboard, you're going to be presented with a screen that kind of looks like this. Okay, it gives you a signed in successfully notification up here. The problem is it's kind of confusing as to what to do from this point, because unless you click on this X right here, you don't even get to see the menu options that you can use to navigate through the site. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you click the X. Once you click the X, you're going to see that the screen changes, and now all of a sudden you have menu options up here, which will allow you to view the documentation, do some live testing, look at some your API credentials again if you need to pull those back up, and what have you. So just be sure to click that X once you see that signed in successfully screen. Alright, and finally here, before we get to the good stuff, is setting up Visual Studio. Just like before, all you really need to do is just go to the Visual Studio website, https:/visualstudio.com/downloads. Once you get to this page, you'll see several options. The option that you want to choose right now, unless you want to pay for a full version, would be the Visual Studio Community Edition. Right now, the newest version they have is 2017, so that's the one we're going to select. If you're watching this video later on, though, that version may change. Once you click on that link or that button, next thing you do is just follow the instructions to download and install the application.